right. Hey, welcome everybody. How's it going? It's your boy Francis. Glad to be back on the podcast, the Lockdown Podcast. And this is Josh, our lead pastor, as you may know, or may not know. And if you don't know me either, I'm the youth pastor here. I oversee the middle school and high school students of our church. And I always say it's an honor, it's a blessing, it's a privilege. I love it so much. But hey, good afternoon. It's about what time? 3:37 p.m.
Wow.
Pacific time.
Time flies.
Yeah, it does. Pacific time.
You guys are probably watching the recording of this. Of course you are, because it's not live.
Yeah.
But just so you guys know, we've had some technical difficulties. This is, I think, the third or fourth time that we've restarted this.
Yeah.
Because we had some technical difficulties. But as you can see, we've taken the podcast to the next level. We started it, as you could see, one camera shot, and we've just kind of set up this place now.
Yeah.
Better. We got two cameras, and we're just trying to, improve as we go along.
Just get better. And as we were saying before it all shut off again for the third time, now this is our fourth try, like Josh said, we are calling this the Lockdown Podcast, not because we are so arrogant to think that we are able to lock everything down and fully understand it. No, we're calling it the Lockdown Podcast so that it could expand our understanding of certain concepts, certain ideas, and maybe just see things in a way we didn't see before. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
So it's both things. One is the lockdown, because we were literally in the lockdown when we started the podcast.
Right, yeah.
And then lockdown is also, I love the way you just said it. We're locking down or trying to get ideas locked down, concepts locked down, and figuring different things out. So, dude, I'm super excited about this. I had a podcast with Pastor Mark. Nice. I had a podcast with Shay, who's in charge of our young adults.
Yeah.
That one we're going to have to trash, not because it wasn't a good podcast. It was great, but we had technical difficulties with that, and so we're going to have to redo that one again.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the price you pay. When you're figuring things out, trying to get better, take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and then 2 steps forward, and you kind of go along that way.
All right.
So how you feeling?
I feel great.
Good.
I feel great. It's summertime.
Yeah.
Summertime's good. My skin is feeling great in the summertime.
Nice.
I love just being out in the sun, being outdoors. And I mean, can't really complain here in sunny California.
You really can't.
Where it's winter time, the sun's out. Summertime, the sun's out. Can't really complain, but just take advantage of it a little bit more these days. So yeah, I feel good.
I always think about the people that left California. They left California in the summer, right? And then they moved to like Texas or wherever else, and all of a sudden the winter hits, and they're like, oh, okay, now I remember what was so great about California.
Yeah, it's kind of rough because you pay big prices for rent, but you're not just paying for rent; you're paying for the beach, the mountains. The weather. Yeah.
Who was talking about that the other day?
I think it was us.
Was it us?
Yeah,
okay.
We were talking about that.
Yeah, I think Carlo mentioned that too. He was talking He was talking about surfing, and he was talking about just different things that we take for granted, but that, we have, so close. I mean, you've taken up cycling too.
Yeah. I feel like the last time I was on this podcast, I was not a cyclist. And now I'm a full-blown my Oakleys are over there.
I'm going to go grab them.
Josh is going to go grab them. You got to see. If you're watching on YouTube, you got to see these. Here we go. Yep.
But we get the full experience. Yeah, that's right.
There we go. So these are what I wear literally when I'm on the road. I wear these with my helmet, of course. Do not ever go cycling without a helmet.
Do not.
You could, if you're going at high speeds, you fall. That's not good. I haven't fallen yet, but yeah, these are my cycling glasses.
They look good.
Yeah,
they look good.
They feel good.
It makes you look legit. It gives you authority.
It makes me feel like a cyborg.
Yeah.
We'll just leave those over there.
So this is something that actually was started at our church, specifically in our Spanish service. So for those of you who don't know, we have 2 services. We have 10 o'clock English, and then 11:30 we have our Spanish service. I get to preach at both. I can preach in both languages, which is a huge blessing.
That's amazing.
So we have our Spanish service, and then in our Spanish service, we have different activities that different people do. The ladies have their exercise stuff, but there's really been like a push for like working out and getting healthy, and it's been super organic. And so one of the things that in our Spanish ministry sort of got started, like almost like a movement, is this cycling group. A bunch of guys, they get together every Saturday morning, and they all go. And I've been with them them 4 or 5 times on their Saturday morning rides, and this is kind of what inspired you too, right? To do it.
Yeah, because I've been wanting to go cycling, and this, if you're watching for the first time, this is not a cycling podcast.
No.
I'm pretty brand new to this, so if you hear some things, and if you don't know anything about cycling, we're pretty much on the same boat. And if you are a cyclist, then it's like, I'm sorry if I get some terms wrong, but yeah, I know it's been great. I wanted to start during COVID, but there was literally no bikes available during that time. So when you guys invited me to go out, I was like, let's do it finally. And then I just fell in love with it. And so I go like 3 to 5 times a week.
Nice. What was it that grabbed you about it? Like, what was it that like sort of like a switch went off and you were like, dude, I want to do this now?
I think it's 2 things. I think first is like, just off the bat, it's just very freeing, just freeing.
Yeah.
You just go and you go fast. Yeah. Especially if you have a good bike. You just go fast. Like I just got my bike almost 2 months ago now.
Your bike is nice.
Yeah, I love it. And you can just go, and it's just freeing, and it's exercise. Yeah. And the second thing is like, it's not just physical exercise. It's like, it's mental. It's mental. Like, and spiritual, honestly. I don't even listen to music out there anymore. I do sometimes, but usually I just go in the quiet now, and I just go, and it's like time with God for me. Yeah. And so really, it's just, for me, like, it's hard for me to be consistent in the gym, which I need to be better. I need to get back in the gym and all that, and I always say that. But I've been doing calisthenics though.
Nice.
It's just, I like stuff like that, to where like skateboarding. Skateboarding's been my thing for over 10 years now, and I like just activities rather than like strict workouts, but still getting a workout. So I love that, and then it's also like, it's good for like mental health, just to clear. And like, there's a lot of studies on this too that link mental health and like physical health together. You know, and it's like, if your physical health is good, your mental health will be better. My mind feels a lot more clear, and I think it's an investment. I saw it as
100%.
I saw it as an investment more than anything. Like, I'm investing in myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. Is if you're listening to this today and you're kind of down, or maybe you're not so down, it's just important for all of us to remember that we have to invest in ourselves physically, mentally, spiritually, because if we don't invest in ourselves, how it's going to be really difficult for us to invest in other people.
I agree. Yeah, because this is what we have. I mean, we have this message of Christ. We have the gospel. We have Jesus. But we have these physical bodies that He's given us. With our eyes, with our mouths, with our muscles, our body. That He gives us this so we can preach the message and do the things that we have to do. And so, absolutely, our body is a temple. We need to take care of it. And, we just need to do better. Yeah. Like, from my whole thing is with exercise, I've been doing it for such a long time that it's literally just part of my routine. If I don't do it, I feel strange, like weird. I'm missing something. Yeah. The thing I've never been able to nail down, and I have it on my notes. Like, I have this thing that I do every day. When I'm praying, I have a prayer time every day. And then there's this moment where I have a declaration for myself. And I read this declaration, which is basically speaking what you want to be, like who you want to be, the person that you want to be. And then one of the things that I have on there is about my physical health. And so I want to be disciplined. I want to be disciplined in my mind, in my relationships, in my leadership, in my body, and in my nutrition.
Nice. Nutrition.
My nutrition, dude. Yeah. That's actually kind of a new one. Yeah. But the nutrition part is so hard for me.
It's tough.
I can eat incredibly healthy until lunch, dinner comes, and it's like, forget it. All bets are off. I'm just so hungry, because during the day, I don't know if this happens to you, I'm in work mode. Like, I'm working. I'm working, so I can eat healthy. I bring my snacks. I have everything that I want. Once I get home and I'm in more like relaxed mode, I'm like, I'm just going to eat whatever comes. Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah. I mean, I think Victoria, my girlfriend, for those of you who don't know, she is actually a certified nutrition coach. So, she just got her certificate, about a month ago when she finished, this past year of school, or this past semester of school. And she told me she would always be super strict, macros and everything like this, and it was just too much for her. Yeah. And if you do that, that's fine. That's really good. But she always tells me, make sure to just, everything's all about, we always say, finding that balance.
That balance, yeah.
And it's having a healthy relationship with food is you can eat the chocolate, you can eat the ice cream, but hopefully you're eating vegetables throughout the day.
Right.
It's like you can't just be eating all junk, or you can't just, you can't just be eating unhealthy. That's possible. And that's probably better to do.
Yeah.
But she said, like, what she does, like, she is like addicted to, and me too. We both say this, that we don't have a sweet tooth, we have sweet teeth. And so, like, literally, we both love sweets so much, but we pretty much eat, we eat like 3 to 5 times a week plant-based, and then like we can just eat cookies,
just eat whatever,
eat cookies, and like, and it's still good. But I think that's a good lesson too. It's just as a part of investing in yourself. Maybe that's the theme of today. Investing in yourself. Investing in yourself. Is just not robbing yourself of things that are, like cookies and stuff like that, or whatever, as long as there's a balance.
There's a balance. Yeah. Because everything in excess is bad, right? Yeah. So even too much discipline, too much being too disciplined in excess can be bad as well. Yeah, it's true. Like investing in yourself. Like what are some of the things? I feel like we've talked about this before, but it's still a really, really good topic. For anyone, if you're part of our church, if you're not, if you just happen to be listening, what are the things that you're doing today for the future? Like what's that thing that you're doing that is a delayed gratification that you're investing in today that you're going to reap the benefits of in the future?
Yeah.
Something simple. Make your bed in the morning.
Yeah.
It's such a simple one.
It really is.
Really, really simple. But if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is you make your bed. Yeah. Like you've started your day with a win.
Right.
You started
it's actually really biblical. When Jesus rose from the grave and he left his grave clothes, it says that the cloth that was on him, that they covered him in when they buried him, it was folded up. Interesting. It was folded away.
When you think about that moment in Scripture, the life of Jesus, why do you think that they put that part in? About the fact that his clothes were folded.
That's a good point. I think to me it just shows that I think theologically at least he's just in control. He's in control. Is like, because we like a lot of the times I hear messages and it's like they're painting Jesus like he lost or like he was like, oh, it was so tough, and it was tough for him. Yeah, he's fully human and fully God. Yeah, but I think the fact that he folds his clothes and puts him over there and like on the little bed shows how much of in control he was, because he was like,
interesting.
He was like, I knew this was gonna happen. Yeah. So I'm gonna get up, leave it all nice, and then be on my way.
That's so interesting.
So I think, and I that's not to say that making your bed makes you fully in control, but like Josh said, it starts off the day in the right way to be like, you know what, I am going to control what I can't control. And pray about the rest.
I wonder if because like if I'm thinking about the resurrection of Jesus. He just rose from the dead, and then he's folding his clothes. I love what you said about him being in control, because I think there's a lot of truth to that. Because if I was having like the most amazing day of my life, like I don't know, I can't think of an example right now. I'll probably forget to make my bed. I'm just going to go off and do the thing that I'm going to do, you know? But he takes the time, because he's like, he was fully in control. Yeah. So he just folds his. So that's one thing. I wonder, another thing that I was thinking is that I wonder if it was a sign. Like the people that were closest to him might have known that he had a certain way of folding his clothes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, so you look at the way that he folded his clothes and you're like, I know that was Jesus.
That was Jesus that did that.
That's the way he folds his clothes. So it's almost like a sign that he did actually raise from the dead, that he was actually there. I don't know. There's no proof for that. But yeah, I would say that's an important one. Just making your bed in the morning. First thing, it's a delayed gratification. It's a benefit that you're going to reap at the end of the day. Yeah. It's awesome to come back to a room that's clean and orderly. It's the best. And you just walk in there and it's like, you've invested in yourself. It's a win. Yeah. It's a win. Right.
Yeah. And I think honestly, we I mean, for me, before, because when I first started coming here, I first got this position, I was just like, I was like a kid right out of college. I actually, what's funny is my mom raised me real well. I don't think I've missed a day like fixing my bed. Nice. Like I'd fix it every morning.
That's good.
I make it every morning.
Kudos to your mom, because my kids forget every day.
Justin, Matthew, Amy, what you doing?
They forget every day. I still love you though.
Yeah. But yeah, so I fixed my bed. But I was like a kid, and like I didn't really like take into account the disciplines, and like when you start thinking, oh man, I'm an adult now, and I'm getting older, I need to probably start having some discipline in my life, like exercising, like, you know, spiritual disciplines like prayer and scripture reading, and you know, being in community, all that. I didn't really have like set disciplines, and so it was kind of daunting. And I feel like maybe for people who are listening, like maybe you want to start creating disciplines, you want to start creating patterns and habits, healthy habits. It doesn't happen overnight.
No,
it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
So I bring all this up to say that it was difficult for me, like just right out of college, just young, immature. But now even I'm still building my habits even more, building, you know, investing in myself through discipline, because, you know, the blessing is actually in boundaries. I've heard that once.
Interesting.
I forget. The blessing is in boundaries. If you set boundaries for yourself, then there's blessing in that. But I think it's not so much of a daunting task. I think we look at it as like a huge daunting task. Like, there's no way that I'm going to ride my bike 20 miles 3 times a week.
Right.
And then you do it a couple times, and you wake up at 6 a.m. That's what I wake up at 5 or 6 a.m. And I'm like, let's go. I'd rather be in bed. But when you get up, you feel victorious already. Yeah. Like when you get up at that 6 a.m. and your alarm goes off and you're like, I'm going to force myself. And then now it's just natural. Yeah. But I think discipline is little wins more than like a big thing. Because it's like a snowball. Yeah. You know, you throw snow, it starts small and then it goes, gets bigger. And your snowball effect could either be good or bad. You know, it's up to you to decide what you want that to be. Right. And so it's little disciplines, little like for me, it's like, okay, I'm going to get up. Like if I snooze my alarm once, that's okay, but I better be getting up at 6:04 at the latest. You know, I'm getting up. That's a discipline that I'm working on right now. That's good. Another discipline is like, you know, with sin, just even like as Jesus says, like, if your eye sins, then like it could cause your whole body to sin. It's better to just throw it out. Right. And it's just like a win is when you keep your eyes and your mind pure. Yeah. That's a win. It is when like there's temptation passing by, just keep looking straight. That's a win. Yeah. Another win is like, okay, I could have gone with the double. Let me just go with the double single. Now I'm chopping off 100 calories off of my burger. I mean, that's a difference, you know, that's something small, but the small things are the victories, I think. And I think that's how discipline can help with self-investment. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, because there's those little things that result in the big things. Yeah. I think that sometimes we see the big thing and we're like, oh, I want that. But then you're like, but you're not thinking about everything, all the little steps of small disciplines and small wins that took the person to be at the place where they're at. So there's this book that we're studying with a group of leaders. So we've got 2 groups of leaders that are upcoming leaders in our church. They're 4 couples, one group of 4 couples from Spanish and another group of 4 couples from English. And we're studying this book called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership from John Maxwell. And one of the things that John Maxwell said in one of the chapters is really interesting. So he's a leadership guru. Like he goes around the world and his books have been translated into a bunch of languages, and he's just very famous in leadership. And one of the things that he said once was very interesting. He was at a conference and he gave this big talk. It was like this amazing talk. And then a guy comes up to him and says, hey man, I would love to be able to do what you do. And he answers something to the effect of, that's great that you'd want to do what I do, but would you like to do what I did? Yeah. And then he unpacks everything. Then he starts unpacking his day. Like every single thing, every single act of discipline that he does throughout his entire day that allows for him to be able to have that huge thing, you know, public display of all of his leadership qualities as a result of all these little things. Yeah. You know, so there's a price to pay. Yeah. And there's a lot of people that we admire now, that we look at, that we look up to, and we're like, man, I want to do that, or man, I want to do that. Yeah. But I guarantee you there's this whole list of things that they do if they start, I mean, I'm sure you've listened to these, you know, different guys that we listen to and admire. They have crazy days. Yeah. They have crazy days, and they're relentless. I mean, and they're also good at rest. Yeah. Yeah. That's a whole nother part of discipline. Mm-hmm. Yeah, is resting.
Because sometimes we assume that the people that we admire or the successes that we would like to have in ministry or whatever it is that we're doing, that it's all about you're just going to grind all day nonstop, just going to work yourself to the bone. But that's not sustainable because you have a family. Right. You have to rest. You have to, all these things. So it's, again, back to what you said, it's about finding that balance.
Yeah. Right? The wins, a lot of the wins are in the dark. Nobody's going to see most of the wins in your life. Nobody's going to see when you resisted temptation. Right. They'll see it when you get to that place that you want to get to. Yeah. And they'll be like, oh, how did you get there? Well, it was a lot of resisting my flesh. Yeah. It was a lot of discipline. Yeah. And so a lot of the wins are in the dark.
A lot of the wins are in the dark. I like that.
My friend, I had breakfast with a friend today from Oregon. I went to college with him. Him and his wife, and then me and Victoria, we had breakfast and we went to go to my favorite coffee shop, and it was a nice little reunion because I was at a wedding last night, so they were in town, and it was cool. But he told me, we were talking about ministry and all that, and he was just saying, like, people underestimate or overestimate what they could do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 5 years. Yeah. Because it's like, okay, 1 year you're thinking, okay, we're going to be here, we're going to have this, we're going to have that. But then, really a lot of the time, especially in church, it's a slow process. Oh, yeah. It's slow, kind of like with our church right now. But we're already seeing the fruits of it. Yeah. But we overestimate what we can do in 1 year. We can underestimate what we can do in five. It's because, like what you're saying, we are all about instant gratification, especially with our phones, our means of communication. Just everything is now. You order online so you could pick up your food right away, and you don't have to wait in line. You don't have to have human interaction. Now. Everything now. But like when you set a goal, we have to realize it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of discipline, a lot of wins in the dark. Yeah, that's right. I love that concept of the wins in the dark. I think that's really what it is. I was sharing earlier, I think maybe we have talked about this. There was this speech that somebody gave that was in front of a bunch of college kids that were studying to be pastors. It was a ministry thing. I can't remember exactly what it was, but there was a person giving a talk to all these future pastors. And I think it was a she, and she gave this talk, and she, at one moment in her speech, she said, I want you to picture yourself in ministry. I want you to all close your eyes for a couple of minutes and picture yourself in ministry. Like, what are you going to be doing when you're in ministry? So close your eyes. So she let them have their eyes closed for like a minute. And then she's like, okay, now open your eyes. Now think about what it is that you pictured yourself doing. Yeah. And then she said, if you pictured yourself on a stage in front of a crowd, then you're probably not fit for ministry. I love that so much. It's so true because there's so many people that we admire now that we look up to, pastors, preachers that are very prominent, and they have these really big churches and they're very successful. And since they're so visible to everyone, we assume, I mean, it would be easy to assume, I'm thinking especially about young pastors, it would be easy for them to assume that that's the norm. Right. And that's the goal. Like one day I'm going to have this big church and I'm going to have 5,000, people. And it's like, yes, you might. And that's great, but that's not the norm. Yeah. That is not the norm. It's almost like the actor who's, he wants to be an actor for his life, but he doesn't really want to be an actor. He doesn't love acting. What he loves is the fame. He wants to be famous like these actors that he admires, but he doesn't really love the acting as much as he loves the fact that he could one day be famous. Yeah. One of the things that I've discovered at my 45 years of age is that if you don't fall in love with a pixel, the whole picture is not going to be enough for you. Yeah. What I mean by that is that what I mean by the pixel is the conversation that you have with someone that's going through a really, really hard time, and then they walk away from that conversation feeling a little better. Yeah. That's a little win in the dark that you're talking about. It's a little win in the dark. If that doesn't move you, that little thing doesn't move you, it doesn't matter how big your church is or how successful you are. Right. That's what the ministry really is. Exactly. So we're 30 minutes on stage once a week. Yeah. Well, an hour total. We have 2 services. But that's just a little moment. That's not the real work. Exactly. The real work is in the pixel. And if you don't fall in love with that, you're going to have a hard time
in all of the other hours that aren't stage time. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. Like, for example, like right now, I just had this little small group. You saw me in the room, and if you didn't know, like I was just meeting with some of my high school boys, and we were just in the room, and like we didn't crack open the Bibles. We didn't spend 5 hours in prayer. We literally broke bread, ate together, prayed before the food, but that was it. You know, we just hung out, and sometimes this is what we're saying with the winds are in the dark. I do that because number one, I love these guys, and like these are my boys, and I just want to be with them. But number two, it's like you have to cultivate community so that you can create a better outcome on the day of service. Because on the day of service, we're gonna be united. On the day that we have our church service, we're gonna be together on the same page because they know I care for them, and I know they care for me. And it's just that those are like winds in the dark. Like nobody knows. Congregation doesn't know that I'm taking my kids out for lunch for 2 hours because just so we can have community. Like nobody knows that. Like, and especially the new kids who come up, they don't know that we did that. But it's just kind of like if Justin Bieber is like making he doesn't make the song on the radio. Like Justin Bieber will tuck himself away in his music cave and just let the music come out of him for a couple hours, you know, like, and that nobody sees that. You just think, oh, he just came up because of some YouTube, which he did, but he was already working on his craft before that YouTube video came out. So it's like, we have to be willing to do the little things. And then just by like Psalm 75, 6-7 says, promotion comes not from the east, nor the west, nor the south. It's the Lord that sets one up and puts down another. And it's like, it's not about those big mountaintop moments. It's the times in the valley that are really, you know, reflective of what our character is. So.
And I also think that's so true, and you're so right. I couldn't agree more. But it's also like I think we have to be careful, and I have to check myself on this all the time, is that we're not thinking that those little moments in the dark are adding up to one day. Because one day, then finally it'll all pay off, and we'll have this big mega church, and we'll have all the fame. No, that's where the victories are.
That's the victory right there.
Those are the wins right there. It's
just not visible to a lot of people.
I love that. That is so true.
And if we're not okay with it not being visible, then that's a heart check for us. You know, like if you only want to work out and have this discipline and have a great body so that other people could see you. That's kind of like, that's self-serving. But if you want to work out, and then like, I think this is a good example. If you want to work out to get healthy and then you get a body that you're happy with and comfortable in. As a result of that, then that's great. And it's the same thing like with our church body. It's the same thing with a business you're building, same thing with like a community that you're building, or whatever it is that you are building. If you just do what you're supposed to do and do what you're called to do, then the result is God's gonna bring the result on his own.
I love that. And on that note, I think we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna keep going though. We'll keep going. We'll keep making more of these. Thank you guys for listening. And any closing thoughts?
Just take care of yourself.
And I love that. That thought that you just said. I'll remember that. In the dark.
Winds in the dark.
Winds in the dark. That's like the name of that's like a message title.
The winds in the dark.
The winds in the dark. The wind is in the dark. That's where the win is. I love that. All right, you guys. Love you guys. Take care.